So for my story, the Knit Texan story, we've been talking briefly about things that I've been knitting and things that I get inspired by. And I wanted to share a couple of the things that I've done and a couple of things that I've got for you and a story as well. So first and foremost, I wanted to show you some of my finished objects. So this is kind of exciting. So this is my car scarf. I told you I keep knitting in the car all the time. We have trains here in Houston, and you get stopped by a train. I have perfect knitting time. I'm sitting at a red light, and I know it's a long light. I can get a row done because it's not many stitches across. There's a variety of reasons. Or say I go to a doctor's office and I didn't bring something in my backpack, I can get my car knitting out of the car and knit in the doctor's office. So it's very handy to keep knitting that close, but I don't knit while I'm driving. So when I say car knitting, that's a misnomer. But this is Dunn-Ballam yarn. It's by Lion Brand. It's acrylic, but it's self-striping, and so it has these really nice color combinations. I do a really good job of combining the colors, and this is just a simple garter stitch with a slip stitch edge, which makes it look like it's got a little chain stitch. I didn't block this, so that's how it's coming out. This is probably my sixth one. This is what I would consider a garter stitch clinic because I can now knit garter stitch with very even gauge, and a lot of people are like, wow, did you do that by hand? I mean, there's a lot of variations in there, but not as much as when I was a beginner. And I certainly wanted to get much better with garter stitch, and so I think I have with this project. Another thing that I finished was a whip, and I was super excited about this. Do you remember this hat that I only had a little bit to finish? Well, I finished it, and now the problem with this hat is that I was excited about the braiding, and so I wanted a big relief between there. Well, I made too much of a relief because when you put it on, it's rather tall. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to add some horns on here. It's the idea anyway. And then double stitch Texans across there and make it a Texans hat. Could be kind of fun. And then if the hat is sitting back, say this is on your brim, and then you had the Texans there, it'd look really good. And then of course the horns would come up back here and you wouldn't see that, but it'd be kind of neat. So Houston Texans is our football team. I'm not a huge fan of football, but I did make this originally for someone who had wanted a Texans hat, and so that's why I chose these colors. But they're no longer in my life, so I was like, what do I do with this? So I just finished it, as you can see. Super easy, super simple to finish. I don't know why I didn't, and I'll let you know how it ends up when I get through with it. Next, do you remember I made those baby booties for my new niece? Well, she was born, super excited, and I'll be knitting a lot for her, but I wanted to make something for her nursery wall, and her mom loves alpacas, and so I thought this would be tons of fun. So I made a yarn art. They call it yart, like yarn art. I got the kit at Michael's, I think, or maybe Joann's. I don't know, but it was so cute. I had to do it, and so actually this will go behind glass. I took the glass out so they wouldn't reflect the light, but they would go behind glass so there won't be dust. But I thought that was super cute. Actually, Janelle, who painted that piece, that Knit Texan sheep, it's her baby. So this will go on the nursery wall for her. So I'm super glad and excited to be providing that to her. Next, I wanted to tell you about some yarn that I've got. I try not to buy too much yarn because I have a lot already, and I don't want to add too much to it, but there's knitters that I support, yarn people that I support, and and companies I like to support. So I like to buy that, and then more importantly, that gives me more current yarn. So if I begin a project with that, we don't have to go to Yarn Sub. You don't have to go to Yarn Sub to figure out how to use it, because this yarn is around. So the first one I want to tell you about, I kind of lightly told you about this, I think, in one of the LYS sections, but it was Easy Knits, and my friend John Dunn-Ballam is the owner, and he creates some great yarn and beautiful colorways, some really fun colors and because he's in London, it has that UK sensibility to him. He doesn't really do colors the way we do here in the States necessarily, and so some of his stuff is really amazing. One thing that I had to get, of course, was his sort of pride striping yarn. This is on his Gobstopper, which is 75% superwash merino and 20% nylon and 5% stellina. It's 4-ply fingering weight and has beautiful color. Look at the colors, the way they just jump. And this is in striping yarn, so it will actually stripe to this evenly in the Pride colorway. So that's kind of exciting. This is the sparkle that you see. There's just a little bit of sparkle through the whole thing. It's not as heavy as other sparkle stuff with like glittery stuff, so I really liked this sparkle about it. It was just a little bit to make it get a kick. So when he said, do you want plain or sparkle? I said, give me one of each, please. So that is the sparkle, which is not very sparkly. And then this is the plain. And this is also 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and has a 4-ply fingering weight. So this just doesn't have the 5% of the sparkle in it. But yeah, see the colors, and I can't wait for you to see the socks I'm going to make so you can see the striping. All right, so that's Easy Knits yarn out of the UK. Next, I want to come closer to home and tell you about a guy. He's an acquaintance of mine. I've met him. One day I hope to bring him to the history section and have you meet him. His name is Ray Whitting, and his company, Knitivity, and I'll have the website here, knitivity.com. His website, he has a really neat way of putting yarn out there. It's much more exclusive. So if you subscribe to his blog and you stay on top of it, you can get some amazing colorways and that nobody else has, because he does very limited runs. So it's much more exclusive. The good thing is the way he sets it up, the website shows and reflects pretty closely to what it is. So if you email him and say, I want this number colorway, he'll go ahead and mark, and as soon as you process your payment, he marks it off the website. So anyway, let me show you some of what he's done. So this is amazing. This is what he calls his Fitbit sock. Fitbit sock is 75% Corriedale, 25% nylon, but it's 430 yards, which is gratuitous when it comes to sock yarn, because I make short socks, so the leftover I can use for a lot of fun stuff. But this is a great colorway, and this is color 560. So I wanted to show you that. Next, we also have another one, which was, this is the Fitbit sock as well, in the Corriedale, but the greens I thought were really neat, how he graduated those greens. Look at that. Isn't that neat? So I wanted to show you this as well. And the third one I got was also in Fitbit sock, but I just really liked the colors and how they graduated. They're so guy to me, but there's a little bit of green in here too. Do you see? So I like really deep colorways, and this one really did it for me. So anyway, I wanted to tell you about his yarn, Knitivity.com, and please support him because he's a great guy who makes great yarn, and he's also located here in Houston, Texas. Okay, so next I wanted to tell you about something that I'm going to be participating in. It just started. It's a knit-along. I'm not hosting it. KAL is what it's called, which stands for knit-along. And but what it's going to be is, do you remember on our very first history episode, we met Cowl William? Well, Cowl is starting a knit-along in combination with Skacel. Skacel is a great company. I told you that, I think in the intro video, how they had sponsored me for my men's knitting retreat. So they're great, but he partnered through them because they produce the yarn, and it's really neat. So I wanted to show it to you. So this is the two colors that I chose for the knit along. It's Sueño by Haiku, and it's a beautiful yarn, but I think this red with this white will have a lot of contrast and be very pretty. Also, I think the white will bring out some of the red speckle that's in there, so I think that'll look really, really good together. But I will put details on the knit along here and invite you to be a part of it. It's very exciting, and I will show my progress as we go forward. Next, I wanted to bring to your attention, I've mentioned or introduced to you a needle company, one that I'm just a huge fan of, Dyak Craft Needles. Here is their website here. They do such a great job with their needles. They're expensive, but it's worth it because, again, if you don't have the tools that you like, you're not going to work with them. And I love working with Dyak Craft Needles. They're probably my go-to needle because of the perfect finish that they put on there. And and the tips are not too blunt, but they're not too pointy. So there's not, I never split yarn with those needles, hardly. And one of the reasons why I'm telling you all about this is because recently they had a problem, and they put a post on Facebook, and I'm just going to read you briefly a little bit about it, because they said, when Rutland plywood burned to the ground, we thought it was over. But before the day was done, we had lost our staff, our wood source, our income, and about $250,000 in sales for the remainder of the year. It was a grim day to say the least. Shortly after that, we lost the house we'd been renting. Then the next one proved to be a nightmare. Then my car was totaled. Then the anodizing company we had been using just up and quit on our job and handed off the needles, pre-purchased needles, to another company who dyed them the wrong color. A lot of them. It was tough. My heart went out to them. I mean, for a company to have that much pain and tragedy, you know, professionally, and that just, it's amazing. So I jumped right out, went straight to the website, dyakcraft.com, went to the page where they had these, were selling them off, and I bought some. And because I wanted to support them, and I bought a couple of other things so to support them. So I hope you support them as well, because I really like them. They do often put what they call seconds out there. So the yarn color might not be to their perfect standard, but if you want to, if you stay on top of it and you look, you can get a complete set in some really fun colorways because they may not all match. But I wanted to show you the box that I had ordered from them. She had told me that there was no promise for the color that you would get, because remember, they were all dyed the wrong color. So I wanted to kind of do that here on the channel. So I went ahead and cut the tape. But okay, so here is the packing slip. And then here is the first tissued wrapped piece. Sounds like needles to me. I don't even remember the sizes that I got, because it's been a month or two, maybe a month. Looking at her post, it's been a month. Oh, a month and a half. Okay, so, oh, fun. Okay, so I got a pair of the size 8, and it's like a peachy cream. So you can see right there. Oh no, these are bronze. Look at that. They're like more bronzy gold. Those are nice. Then I got a pair of 9s, and it's beautiful jade green. So you can look at those right there. Yeah, those are nice. Jade green. Very pretty. And then here is a size 10 in a charcoal or black. You can see here how those look. But what I really appreciate, and let's look at the packing slip. So yeah, they're all 5 inches long. Oh yeah, I got other stuff too that'll be in here. So here's the other tissue that shows okay. So we have, I bought an extra long needle because I thought I like making, now that I have a new niece, all these baby blankets I'm going to be making, I need a longer needle. So she does custom needles for her, custom cables for her needles. And so you can order a custom cable from her, and it's not expensive at all. So if you invest in these needles, I invite you to look and see if you can't get some custom cables for you. And then some of the smaller ones I have, I can make longer by connectors. So I ordered these connectors. If you look at them here, you can see they're just perfect. I mean, their joins on their needles are out of this world smooth. I never have problems with them. They're just, the yarn just slides perfectly off of them. That's probably one of the things I've appreciated most, is the engineering that goes behind their needles. Tom, who I'd like to interview one day, maybe if he'll let me, is the engineer behind those needles and does a great job. So I kind of wanted to share that with you. So again, I invite you to like this video if you like it, subscribe if you'd like to. I found out that a lot of my friends don't watch me or watch these videos. So I don't know if you're watching this. I invite you to, I don't know, put a comment down. Let me know. What do you think about it? What would you like to see? Is there something you don't like? I'm just doing this for you guys to try to inspire you, bring you good product, and share with you in the challenge of completing knitting projects. And I'm hoping that that speaks to you. But if it doesn't, let me know. If it does, let me know. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks again. Bye.